the world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is October 2nd, 2020. This is episode 250. And today, Octrumper surprise. And I don't love LA, but I am your best buddy, Basil.
Weird. Okay. I don't get it. My name is
Gonz. Not
Gonz.
catch you by surprise every time, Gonz.
But you do.
No, the last few episodes I've been specifically referencing songs about California cities.
Okay.
Those who have been following the clues know that already.
Okay, where do the clues lead?
You'll have to keep following the clues.
Okay. Well, my name is Gonz.
California is the answer.
I guess. Welcome to the podcast, where we bring you tomorrow's news today from a biblical worldview. We're here. We love Jesus. We love you. Learning to love ourselves and learning to love our enemies.
Oh, Gonz, are you sad? Is there something going on?
No, it's October 2nd, and it's already like the craziest October of our entire lives.
Oh, you sounded so obviously sad. I thought you were doing a bit.
No.
I thought you had a joke that was coming.
No jokes. No jokes. Just being me, you being you with your rabbit trail of clues, little hints.
Man,
scavenger
you're
hunt
on fire today. All right. Well, it is an exciting beginning to October. It only took one day for the October surprise to show up. Yeah. And we'll be talking about that in a second here. But, Gonz, do you have any exciting personal news? Anything going on?
No, just counting down to baby world. So
the countdown to baby world.
It's kind of like a calm before the storm. Although it kind of related to everything going on. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law both came down with the Rona.
Really?
So they're both in quarantine and all this.
Whoa.
And, I mean, I could easily be that uncle, that guy, like
try to
how many what kind of PCR test did you get? Was it over 30 spins? Because then I can do that, but I didn't. Yeah. I just I basically said that you have a 99.9% survival rate, so
yeah, I'm
you're
sure
good.
That helped. Yeah. I'm sure that made them feel better.
Yeah.
How do they lean?
They're pretty
normies for the most part.
Yeah, they're fairly normy. Yeah, they're pretty normy. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need you to. I'm not trying to get you to blow up your family spot there. Just curious.
No, it's fine. I mean, they're family, and they're open to things. During holidays and stuff, we'll have conversation, and I'll bring things up, and they don't shut it down or anything. But yeah, I don't think they quite jive on the wavelengths that we ride on, Basil. But that's okay. That's okay.
Sure. We're a rare breed,
even amongst our own families.
Even amongst our own.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I don't think I have anything exciting going on, so we can skip that and get right to the good stuff. And You know what it is, Gonz. It's the Flippy update.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okie dokie, folks. If you don't know, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy, the original burger flipping robot, to have a proxy conversation about how robotics and AI are taking over the world. And so today, I'm coming at you with an article from ArsTechnica.com, and the headline is Toyota's ceiling-mounted robot is like GLaDOS for your kitchen. Do you know what GLaDOS is?
No, but hopefully the article will tell us.
Yeah. The article reads, today, home robots mostly consist of little puck-shaped vacuum that can bump around your house picking up debris. I don't like how they're disparaging Roomba this way, okay? He's not just a little puck-shaped vacuum. Wow. He's a part of the family. But moving on. But someday, maybe we'll have bigger, more advanced robots that can clean up more than just our floors. Roboticists are still figuring out what these types of robots are supposed to look like, and one wild concept from the Toyota Research Institute is a gantry robot that lives on your ceiling.
GLaDOS is from Portal 2, the game. I think that's what.
It looks slightly like a less evil version of GLaDOS. Rather than move around on the floor, Toyota's gantry robot can, quote, descend from an overhead framework when it's time for some cleaning. The company's idea is that by traveling on the ceiling, the robot avoids the problems of navigating household floor clutter and navigating cramped spaces. Getting a human-sized robot to actually live on the ceiling looks like a complicated and expensive proposition. Toyota's system uses an extremely beefy aluminum extrusion cage that covers the entire ceiling of the test house. The robot lives on a room-width horizontal beam that can move along the cage on the perimeter of the house. We'll call this the Y-axis. And then the robot can move left and right along the beam for the X-axis. The whole setup is basically a giant Cartesian coordinate CNC machine. No one is expected to build this into an existing house, but Toyota's idea is, quote, what if in the future we could design homes to accommodate robotic solutions? Dun, dun, dun. When it's time to get some work done, a network of joints lets the robot descend from the ceiling. Toyota is teaching the bot tasks in VR using a valve index where it can learn from examples given by the 6-axis controller. The robot seems to have a few different hand styles that can load a dishwasher, pick up clutter, and wipe down objects. It can even wipe down something as fragile as a television without knocking it over or otherwise destroying it. I can think of a lot of things more fragile than a television, but moving on. You can watch the robot do its thing at around 27 minutes in Toyota's unfortunately very bandwidth-intensive 4K 360 video. Wow. Toyota did originally build this robot in a traditional stand-up form factor that rolled around the floor, but the space required for things like batteries and computers made the base about as big as a mini fridge. Many house layouts would not allow a robot that wide to move around, especially in Japan, so Toyota came up with this ceiling-mounted solution. A rolling robot needs to be completely portable and battery-powered so it doesn't wrap your house in wires, but a ceiling robot does not. Since CNC machines only have a set X and Y movement, they can be constantly plugged in and manage wires with a cable chain. This means size and power is not really an issue for a robot, since you can offload the bigger components anywhere and just run wires to the main robot. And you can skip the batteries and have an infinite runtime thanks to always being plugged in. Well, that's a nice solution. It does. The big concern I have here, Gons, was in the middle of the article when it says no one is expected to build this into an existing house, but Toyota's idea is what if in the future we could design homes to accommodate robotic solutions? So what they're suggesting is that we really build homes for robots that we get to live in also.
Yeah.
Part of the influence campaign of the Skynet world domination robot is, instead of us building homes for ourselves and sharing them with robots, we build the house for the robot, and then we just hope not to be destroyed in the coming apocalypse.
Yeah, that especially not weird. Good if the robot is upset that the house is dirty or something. It can clean up and also eliminate you in the process.
Well, and certainly the ceiling mount and it coming down out of the ceiling just has an extra terrifying form to it.
Is it going to have like parent mode too? Pick it up off the floor. But also the praying mantis thing in particular is kind of creepy because if you're familiar with all the different alien extraterrestrial talk that people have reported over the years, and I would argue maybe like demonic presences or demonic manifestations. There is like a
Sure.
race of praying mantis types that seem to be, again, just reported by people as
Right.
being a part of their encounters with quote unquote aliens. So
Don't normalize the praying mantis.
it's almost like they're
It's not
guiding,
free. They don't care about you.
yeah, they're guiding us to build an image to the mantis beast.
I thought it was funny that the design, it looks like an upside down person, like a person hanging from the ceiling.
Mhm.
I mean, like, you could have easily not made it look like that. I don't know. It just like looks like a Cirque du Soleil person swinging around your kitchen. But anyways, there you go. I thought it was very concerning that they're suggesting we build homes for robots and then and we get to live in them. It's just more robotics redesigning the way humans live instead of just designing the robot to integrate into our lives. We need to go the other way around.
Yeah, and they have a picture of the actual motor that they like the what is it, the track that they have on the ceiling. It's pretty heavy duty. I mean, I don't know how they're gonna have that and the ring drone flying around. I mean, it's gonna be kind of messy.
Well, see, that's why you're mistaken, Gons. This isn't a human's house.
I
This is
get
a
that.
robot's house.
I get that, but if this robot is anything, they don't like dirty, you know?
The design is not meshing with Gons's aesthetic. It's very finely tuned aesthetic eyes.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
there you go.
All right, what do you got?
I would. I'm going to save all the quick updates or just shorter version of updates till after the break because I do want to spend a little bit of time on
A pandemic special.
Okay.
pandemic special, which is of course, the big story everyone's freaking out about. Trump tests positive for COVID, and Bloomberg here says roiling campaign in White House. A lot of thoughts and opinions on this already, and I immediately thought, because this popped out pretty late last night,
Yeah.
and I think it was like 10 o'clock or so. So a couple
Yeah.
things. My first initial reaction was that this was Trump just setting everything up for his vaccine, because he was talking about how they're going to have a vaccine ready by.
Oh, your mind went straight to vaccines.
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
because he promised a vaccine before the election, and people were questioning, is that even possible? Blah blah blah. But also, I thought it was sort of a brilliant play, if you will, because this forces, and this is strictly talking within the context of politics, it forces Trump haters to either completely expose themselves as really
Bad people.
Yeah, just like
Just
insensitive.
generally horrible people.
Yeah, insensitive, horrible people, which you can see on social media. You see a bunch of people already. You got the bleach memes. You got people. We have the hashtag Pray for Trump because it's trending right now. But people are saying pray for Trump to suffer a lot, and people are
right.
just being really negative about it. So it exposes people as either being that, or it forces the Democrat, liberal, left, whatever, to say something nice about Trump. And I think part of having the first lady as part of included in the coming down with the virus, as I think that was strategic as well. But I could be overthinking it. But in general, I think it's political theater in a sense to try to make this whole thing and hydroxychloroquine as well be part of the play. Like, oh, okay, vaccine's ready. Treatment worked, all that kind of stuff. So before we go on to some other interesting patterns or points
there's
here.
a lot of stuff to go in there.
Yeah.
My mind went directly to debates. I thought, oh, great excuse to cancel the debates. And, it could include all of these. It's probably for all the reasons. But I immediately was, because obviously the debates were so wild. they were already talking about canceling all of them, and this is a great example. Now, Trump and Biden both got tested before the debates and were both clean.
Yeah, that's what's weird.
Right. And so you have a 1 day window where
2 days,
suddenly could test positive. And in that case, that means that Biden and Trump were, whatever. I'm sure they're more than 6 feet away, but whatever. They were in the same room yelling at each other, spreading disease.
Well,
so whoever has it could have very easily passed it on to the next person. There's a possibility. Now, I'm just throwing it out there. There's a possibility that Biden will now come down with it because if he was in contact with Trump.
No, it's already public. He tested it and it's negative.
Right, but there's false positives all the time.
Yeah, but there's false negatives too.
I know, but Gonzo, Trump had just passed one the day before the debate.
Yeah. And
then he doesn't pass it the day after. So easily Biden could come down with it, any day, any test. But hold on, just follow me through the theory. I'm not even saying that I have evidence for this, but let's just explore the theory.
Okay.
Both of them get corona. Both of them are they're incapacitated by election time. Then you have acting President Pence running against new presidential candidate
Kamala
Harris. Yeah.
Wow.
That's how you get your woman of color president.
Well, that's how you get your woman of color versus white man.
Versus the most stereotypical Christian white rich man.
Yeah. So those things.
And of course, everybody knows I'm speaking from the common parlance of our society today. Yes. I would not categorize people that way, but that is what the media wants us to do. So I was using their language. I don't know. That's a possibility. I don't think we should. Now, of course, it could all be fake and a whole show, and in which case Biden will not get it. But yeah, when I saw the tweet come through, it was like I started scrolling down the comments and I couldn't make it 3 comments in. I'm like, okay, people are being horrible.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah, it's really bad.
Especially with, the Democrat stance throughout all this has been Trump is uncivil. And No Agenda pointed this out, but I thought it was a great point. The whole Democrat stance is Trump is rude. He's mean. He's uncivil. He makes fun of people. And for the most part, through the debates, Biden was the one bullying Trump, calling him a clown, telling him to shut up, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Trump didn't, he didn't call him any names. He said he implied that he's not smart, but he didn't say any names. He didn't say anything rude.
He didn't go. He didn't do the red herring. Just attacking the person. Yeah, he stuck at least when Trump tried to budge in or he was making the ad hominems. Yeah. At least they were points being made and not just calling him a clown.
Sure.
But
so there you go. The roles have been reversed. Democrats, at least on Twitter, regarding Trump and his wife, have lost all civility.
Yeah.
And it hasn't begun now, but it is, of course, highlighted now.
Right.
But I don't know, man. Keep an eye on Biden. I think Biden and Trump could both be incapacitated, and it'll be the October surprises. Surprise! None of the candidates you thought were running get to run anymore.
Yeah. And we, of course, this is just breaking this last hour. Trump COVID-19 diagnosis leaves president fatigued. Rally canceled, and I think he's being taken to a hospital or something. So
I saw somebody in the chat say a military hospital. I have not seen any stories on that, but I saw somebody say that.
Yeah. But yeah, a couple points to bring up, obviously, is that this all announced, or the announcement of the whole thing came down 33 days before the election.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
Yeah, so that,
how convenient.
Of course. And it's so interesting because I think he tweeted it out at like 1 a.m. Eastern time, which is still the first over on the West Coast, but the second on the East Coast. It's like right in that in between.
Yeah, nice little detail.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Yeah, so just keep that in mind. It really does play into like, oh, was it 33 or 34 days or whatever? It's like, you can kind of do both.
Another quick point to be made that somebody mentioned in the chat was the 25th Amendment issue. The one, let me just double check this. I believe this is the one where if the president is found unable to serve, then he's not president anymore, or something similar to that.
I did see historically, who's the one that got polio and kept serving, or polio and served later?
Come on, chat.
We did have a president that did that.
Is that Eisenhower?
I think it was before that even.
I'm going to search polio president.
The polio president. The other thing that I noticed that was interesting was that this
FDR.
is FDR, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. This happens to be also announced on Sukkot. The Hebrew holiday, Sukkot, which means booth or tabernacle. And it's is the name of a temporary dwelling in which farmers could live during harvesting, a fact connecting to the agricultural significance of the holiday stressed by the book of Exodus. So just something interesting. All these.
What is the what's the whole vibe with Sukkot? Isn't that that's a week long, right?
It's a week long. Yeah, you're not supposed to work for a couple days.
Hebrew celebration.
Yeah. So you're not supposed to work for a couple days, and then it's from Leviticus 23:40. You shall live in a booth, or live in booths 7 days.
Right. Yeah.
All citizens in Israel shall live in booths, in order that future generations may know that I made the Israelite people live in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt.
Otherwise known as the Feast of Booths, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah. Tabernacles, booths, same thing or similar thing. But yeah, I thought that was weird too. Just keeping an eye on, because we know Israel is Israel has the key to the White House. So, I'm sorry, Bibi specifically, Netanyahu, has the key to the White House. So, just something to keep in mind there, as it's just a very interesting time for Trump to announce it. And October surprise. Surprise! Trump
Maybe
has
it's
COVID.
So no, interesting connection there with Sukkot, because it's the festival of shelters, feast of ingathering, tabernacles. Yeah, I didn't. Oh, there it is. Festival of booths, and if you're supposed to stay in your dwelling for the festival of dwellings, or the Sukkot, maybe that's kind of a reference to quarantine. Stay in your house.
It is.
You get sick at the beginning. You get to stay in your house throughout all Sukkot. Maybe that's just an excuse for him to honor the festival.
Well, you're being very generous with that, because we do have a couple. We have a couple
maybe
stories.
It's an occult, esoteric perversion of the Lord's feast.
Yeah, there's a couple things that I wanted to use news stories. So just so we're not just rambling about the whole thing. The first one I'll reference, because we're talking about it, is it's the idea. It's the kind of the QAnon idea that Trump has to go into hiding. A lot of QAnon people, which seems to have quieted down a little bit. But some of those people are saying, like, this is it. They're going to arrest everybody. He has to have an excuse to lock down, because it'll happen. But okay, hold on. I think I got the wrong article here. Oh, it's the Vice article. I'm sorry. So let me see here. It is.
So you have a Snopes pulled up there.
I know. It's fun. Okay, so this is the Vice.com. QAnon believers think Trump got COVID on purpose, because of course they do.
Of course.
Of course. Vice is mean to them. Not that we're
Vice is mean to everybody.
Yeah, not that we're Q people, but I'm just saying, they don't have to be mean. And it's kind of a way to lump all conspiracy theorists in with QAnon. They're kind of like a scapegoat for everybody that questions the official narrative. You might think that QAnon followers who believe the coronavirus pandemic is fake might have been a bit upset with their hero, President Donald Trump, when he confirmed he had contracted the virus. But you'd be wrong. Instead, they're giddy because they think Trump is using it as a cover to what else? Arrest Hillary Clinton. Trump confirmed he and the First Lady had tested positive for COVID-19 hours after it emerged that one of the president's closest aides, Hope Hicks, had also tested positive. QAnon followers believe that the coronavirus is fake. Among the conspiracy theories being spread by QAnon followers is that COVID-19 was made up to deflect attention from the satanic pedophile ring they believe is being operated by Democrats and Hollywood elites. Again, just loaded with misdirection and just dismissing things that are actually true. Another theory posits that Bill Gates created COVID-19 to mask his plan to embed microchips in everyone through a global vaccine program. Like all QAnon theories, these are completely baseless. I think that statement is completely baseless. Not to defend Q, but I'm just saying to say it's baseless is a baseless statement. Anyway. And yet, despite their ardent belief that coronavirus is a lie, QAnon believers greet Trump's announcement Friday morning with glee. Here is how the Q world is interpreting Trump's announcement. Trump knows COVID is fake, so his admission that he is infected is actually a power move on the deep state, who think COVID is real because they created it as a power move on Trump, which all means Hillary Clinton is getting arrested. And I love. I really like this. To get her. Is this it? And then it has Trump's tweet. Tonight, Flotus and I tested positive for COVID-19. We will begin our quarantine and recovery process immediately. We will get through this together. And of course, the way these QAnon folks are decoding the word together, Basil, to get her.
Oh, that's good. Wow. I'm sold.
You're sold.
I'm sold.
You're convinced.
Wow.
Lock her up. Lock her up. QAnon Twitter account attempted to suggest that Trump's announcement was all part of the grand plan, pointing to one of the very earliest posts by the pseudonymous Q from 2017. Quote, POTUS must isolate himself to prevent negative optics, the post said. And there's a little tweet about that post from the Q posts. Multiple QAnon supporters highlighted what they saw as a hidden message in Trump's own tweet, confirming his positive test. The account pointed to the word together, suggesting that Trump really meant was to get her in reference to Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Another account said, my hype levels are dangerously high right now.
Oh, no.
Gotta get hype, bro. And I like this one, too, because this, I don't know why they blurred out the name of the tweeter, but they tweeted to get her and then a screenshot of Trump's tweet with the red lines between get and her. They're breaking it down. This is just complete, deconstruction of the tweet. Others believe Trump's positive test result is a cover for the beginning of the storm, an event QAnon supporters believe will see Trump rid Washington of the deep state actors who are protecting the global satanic pedophile ring. And it goes on. We don't have to. It's a couple more. Sentence. Well, one sentence. They add that Trump could have had COVID because he had taken hydroxychloroquine, a drug which Trump previously boosted and taken, but which has been widely proven to be ineffective in preventing people from contracting coronavirus. I don't think hydroxychloroquine was said to be preventative, wasn't it?
There were healthcare workers that were taking it as I don't want to use the wrong word, and I think I almost did. Yes, in order to protect to get ahead of it.
Oh, I thought the whole thing with hydroxychloroquine was early treatment, but anyway.
Yeah, no, some were taking low doses as a preventative.
Interesting. So anyway, this is I thought that was interesting that they would go straight to this attacking Q. Of course. What else? Vice News. What you got to get paid somehow. Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, Q's got to be in the story. You can't. Okay, yeah. Prophylactic. That's what they were using.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought that had something to do with birth control, and I didn't want to embarrass myself. Yeah, crazy, man. It's the irony. Now, of course, I am aware that there may very well be a plan behind it, et cetera, et cetera. But it was just the perfect 2020 ironic perfect timing thing to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't write it any better. It's written like a fiction.
I
With
know.
with the timing of RGB and then the timing of Trump coming down with it. I am still thinking they better be checking Biden every day, because this could be probably the biggest October surprise in human history.
Yeah. So my whole thesis about this is being a vaccine play on Trump as part of the getting it out before the election.
Yes. Tell me more.
So I think Hannity, right when it was announced, Hannity was on air saying, "Oh, we got to push the vaccine and blah blah blah." But RT also published this pretty immediately. Creator of Russia's Sputnik V COVID-19 vaccine offers to help White House staff after U.S. President Trump contracts virus. And it says here, the developer...
Let the Russians will save us.
I know. This is like perfectly plays into the Russia thing. Oh, which, by the way, I think I have the...
Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia, Russia, Russia.
There we go.
Putin gave Trump the virus so the Russians can save him. The developer of Russia's pioneering COVID-19 vaccine has offered the White House administration an opportunity to be inoculated against the virus after Donald Trump confirmed Thursday he and his wife had contracted the disease. Speaking to Moscow news agency RIA Novosti, Sputnik V creator Alexander Ginsburg advised President Trump's colleagues to get in touch with Moscow to get a hold of some of the vaccine. "I think we can help them if they contact the Russian authorities officially," he said. That was a bad Russian accent. Sorry. Ginsburg's it was like falling into a what was that guy? Anyway, who's that globalist that talks all?
George Soros.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Kissinger.
The other one. Kissinger. Yeah, it was falling into a Kissinger. Ginsburg leads Moscow's Gamaleya Institute for Epidemiology and Microbiology, which came up with the vaccine over the spring and summer. It is currently in its third trial phase with 40,000 Muscovite volunteers due to be inoculated. As part of the process, volunteers are told to download a mobile application, which they can use to report symptoms and have quick access to medical professionals, named Sputnik V. Or is that 5? Maybe it's 5. The formula is due to be available to the general public from January 2021. But there you go. That's one thing happening.
If the president is sick with COVID, then a vaccine wouldn't necessarily save him.
Yeah.
Vaccines are prophylactic, not it's not a cure.
Right.
That's what hydrochloroquine is for.
So, yeah, I still think that's a possibility that whatever it is, he's going to, that's one play that he can say, he's going to get sick or whatever. He's not feeling good, and then he's going to have some treatment, some vaccine, and he'll be like, "Look, I'm all better, good as new, ready to go."
Right.
We're launching the new age on schedule, and
technically COVID is supposed to be a 14-day disease.
Yeah.
So, he's still got time if he can still get better. Unless he falls into the 0.05%. Maybe this is his way out, man. There's always been a theory that he never actually really wanted to be president. He kind of just did it to stick it to Obama for making fun of him. So maybe this is his easy way out, He'll just kind of disappear, go live on a beach somewhere.
Yeah, never let a good crisis go to waste. And I did have that Snopes article because, and the reason why I have this is because if you run into some normie friends who are like, Trump called the virus a hoax, and now he got the virus, just like the whole QAnon article was saying that, all Q people think that Trump thinks the virus is a hoax, and they all think it's a hoax. And yes, the hoax part of it is not like the actual thing itself. Like
not
people
that
get
it
the
doesn't
flu.
Exist.
Yeah, not that it doesn't exist, but the effects of it, the people that have died from it, all the the surrounding things, especially in the realm of politics, and obviously the whole New World Order emerging from it. But I thought you can send them this because, of course, they'll believe Snopes, you know. Did President Trump refer to the coronavirus as a hoax? This was back in March. And they, of course, they had to conclude mixture. And it says that what's true, February 28th, 2020, during a campaign rally in South Carolina, President Trump likened the Democrats' criticism of his administration's response to the coronavirus outbreak to their efforts to impeach him, saying this is their new hoax. During the speech, he also seemed to downplay the severity of the outbreak, comparing it to the common flu, which, yeah, it does seem to kind of match a common flu type of thing. What's false, despite creating some confusion with his remarks, Trump did not call the coronavirus itself a hoax. And it gets into more stuff here. But Snopes said it must be true. But even so, you'll see a ton of people on social media, just, you know, especially like the Trump haters, like, yeah, finally, you know, he said it's a hoax and it's karma. It's karma because he said it was a hoax. But you can just tell your normie friends who are buying into that narrative that even Snopes can't go there. Because Trump never actually called it a hoax.
Your most trusted name in fake news. Yeah. No, that's the people in the chat are saying that he got 5G'd. Maybe they had a 5G transmitter under his podium. You know, they just activated the virus within.
Activate the virus. And then this is my favorite one because, you know, everyone's again, like I said, if it is a political play, it plays right into exposing the Trump haters as being like the most insensitive, you know, inhuman, disgusting people ever. But they have some help with that because of this story here. Do you want to tackle this? Because it's express.co.uk, your most trusted source for all news.
Express.co.uk article is titled Donald Trump Coronavirus, Did Nostradamus predict Trump would test positive for COVID-19? Oh, good old Nostradamus. Let's see what he had to say. President Donald Trump, 74, has tested positive for coronavirus just 2 days after clashing with Democrat rival Joe Biden. Depending on your time zone, it was 1 day. It appears the president may have contracted the coronavirus from one of his close aides, Hope Hicks, who tested positive for COVID-19 on Thursday. Online conspiracy theorists have now suggested the dramatic turn of events was foretold nearly 500 years ago by the French mystic Nostradamus. Real quick, I just want to point out some falsehoods and
tactics.
Strawman thing here. They're saying conspiracy theorists now suggest that Nostradamus predicted it. Technically, that would be more of like a prophecy enthusiast or something.
Well, it's just easier to not lump them all together.
I know. There are all those crazies in one big group. Anyways, online conspiracy theorists have now suggested the dramatic turn of events was foretold nearly 500 years ago by French mystic Nostradamus. Michel de Nostradam, or Nostradamus, was a 16th century apothecary, writer, and supposed prophet who many have credited with predicting the coronavirus pandemic. At the height of the pandemic's outbreak, thousands of people have shared cryptic passages penned by Nostradamus, claiming they have described a future where plague... Wow, they're referring to Nostradamus as a they. Very progressive. Claiming they described a future where plague and disease are rife. Rumors are once again circulating on social media. The French mystic not only predicted the pandemic, but also that Donald Trump would test positive for the virus. One Twitter user said, quote, "There was a prophecy of this guy, Nostradamus, that Trump will die this year. IDK, how to explain it exactly, but you get the idea." Really great.
Good sourcing.
Twitter quote. Great source, great quote. You complete joke of an outlet. Continuing quote, there's also this curse of Tippecanoe, which you can search it up, and it's basically the same. Great. The same person later tweeted, stop quoting this one person. The same person said, Nostradamus also kind of predicted the coronavirus and some other things. Plus, I mean, Trump is in the age range of mortality. Another Twitter user said, just here to remind you that Nostradamus said Trump will die in this year, just saying. And a third person said, God, this is the worst thing you've ever done, Express. And the third person said, this is something I want to look into. Apparently, Nostradamus predicted the 2020 president would die of a quick and mysterious death. Quote, but speculation that the curse has weakened too, but Trump's natal Gemini NN might say otherwise. Who knows? This article has spun into crazy town. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. But let's continue. Did Nostradamus predict Donald Trump would test positive for COVID-19? There is no concrete evidence to support claims of Nostradamus's mystic powers outside of the vague prophecies he penned in the 16th century. Claims of Nostradamus's powers are drawn from his most famous published work, the 1555 book Les Prophètes. In this book, the French mystic penned 4-lined poems or quatrains with very vague and cryptic messages about the future. And although the passages barely mention any specific dates, many believe they relate to modern-day events. One quatrain that is not specifically linked to Donald Trump is claimed to have predicted the pandemic. Century 2, quatrain 6 reads, near the gates and within 2 cities there will be 2 scourges the like of which was never seen, famine with plague, people put out by steel, crying to the great immortal God for relief. Skeptics are, however, not convinced Nostradamus could really see into the future. You don't say. According to Brian Dunning, host of the Skeptoid podcast, Nostradamus was a prolific writer of poetry and not much more. He said, quote, Nostradamus writings are exploited in a number of fallacious ways. Ambiguous and wrong translations, creative interpretations, hoax writings, fictional accounts, the breaking of non-existent codes within his quatrain all contribute to a vast body of work, all of it wrong, and many times the size of everything Nostradamus ever actually wrote. Wow. Maybe the worst article I've ever read, but it gets the point across.
Wasn't that prophecy, I'm not going to even give it that title, thing that Nostradamus wrote, wasn't that the one used for 9/11?
I don't remember the one for 9/11. Yeah, actually, I think you're right.
The 2 scourges and then people put out by steel. I think people were using that for 9/11. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't even the correct Nostradamus thing for this. His mentioned like a queen, and people were saying queen, crown, corona.
Right.
And stuff like that. So yeah, this is the wrong Nostradamus quote that they put in this article.
Yeah, well, it's just funny how people have to come up with something to write about, some kind of angle for
wrote
all
this? Sebastian Ketley.
Yeah.
You're canceled, Sebastian.
Try harder, Sebastian.
Yeah. But yeah, it would not surprise me if Nostradamus had something in there about this. I don't know, about the guy. People have been able to make all sorts of connections. I think more interestingly would be I'm more interested in the Simpsons predictions, Gons.
Well, I will say that the Simpsons prediction, apparently this image is not from an actual episode. There's no source to exactly where it came from, but I think somebody made this after Trump was elected. And so it's not an official Simpsons prediction per se.
This is just someone made an image in the style of the Simpsons.
Yeah, yeah. And people took it and ran with it and everything. And
like
of course, yeah, like they do. And a lot of people tweeted about this too. I saw it all over my timeline. This particular Twitter post, bipartisan report, The Simpsons hasn't been wrong yet. Should have been. It haven't been. Right? Hashtag Trump has COVID, and it's got that picture. So, I mean, it would be compelling if it was true, but unfortunately, I don't think that there was an actual episode of Trump dying. Although if somebody else can debunk it.
Turns out that a lot of the Simpsons predictions were, they were close, or had similar images, but people would go in and Photoshop them to make them look more similar. Like the coronavirus one, where there was a episode where a virus came from China and wreaked havoc. There was an image going around that showed on The Simpsons the coronavirus specifically being named. Turns out that was photoshopped.
Yeah.
I am going to look up. I'm seeing news here. Breaking news: Trump being transferred to Walter Reed Medical.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too.
Do a quick little search on that.
Medical Center, Marine One helicopter. What is this? NBC News. It's been taken to Walter Reed National Military Medical Center Friday afternoon in his helicopter as a precautionary measure, a senior administration official confirmed to NBC News. 3 people familiar with his condition said Trump has a low-grade fever, but it was not clear whether Trump was going for tests or be admitted. The president's doctor said he was administered I saw this too earlier, an antibody cocktail along with vitamins. I know, along with vitamins, and is fatigued, while Melania Trump has a mild cough and headache.
Antibody cocktail? Isn't that just a vaccine?
I actually had a headline with that phrase before Trump's whole thing. I might have to pull it up again. But yeah, it's I noticed that trending. It's a very interesting phrase. That I think it was used prior, but let me see here. It's going to be hard now because everything. Oh, here we go. 2 days ago, Regeneron's antibody cocktail for coronavirus. All right, let's check this out.
Huh.
Yeah, this is CNN. Regeneron's antibody cocktail for coronavirus. Early data shows promising results. Biotechnology company Regeneron released some early results of tests using its antibody cocktail in coronavirus patients Tuesday, and said it seemed to reduce levels of the virus and improve symptoms in patients. Again, this was published 2 days ago.
What is an antibody cocktail? That's crazy.
The greatest improvements were seen in patients who hadn't already mounted a natural response to the infection, the company said. The results only involved 275 patients of the 1,000 they have enrolled in this particular trial, but appear, quote, very promising. Dr. Jean Marazzo, the director of the Division of Infectious Diseases at University of Alabama in Birmingham, told CNN. The treatment also showed positive trends to reducing medical visits for the patients, none of whom were sick enough to be hospitalized at the start of the trial. The company said the numbers in this early release of information were small, and the data has not been peer-reviewed yet. Only top-line data was available in a news release from the company. Company spokesperson said the data validates the treatment as a therapeutic substitute for a natural response to the virus. Marazzo said what stood out to her is that the study characterized patients by their immune responses prior to treatment and determined who did and who did not benefit. Quote, what I think is fascinating is that it shows the antibodies really matter, and the antibody to the spike protein was really helpful, particularly when people made the antibodies themselves, said Marazzo. Quote, whether it's antibody therapy or vaccine that targets these proteins, it sounds like we're on the right track. I think that's really encouraging. And kind of just goes on here, but it doesn't really specifically say what an antibody cocktail.
But it sounds like they're separating it from a vaccine.
Yeah. It's a cocktail antibody therapy uses 2 or more lab-engineered antibodies. Regeneron's cocktail, I like how they say cocktail. It's just like, makes it sound so flippant.
Yeah, nice little mix,
Regeneron's cocktail includes
Gotta mix it up nice.
Monoclonal antibody that targets the spike protein the virus uses to drill into healthy cells, and another antibody that targets a different part of the novel coronavirus. With 2, the hope is come on.
Is.
Yeah. Typo. The hope is to trap and shut down viral replication. Quote, it appears that they've got positive results and that this antibody cocktail doses reduce the amount of time that the patients are sick, especially the patients that weren't able to mount their own antibody responses, Gomerman said. Quote, they're obviously going to have to do much more human experiments and bigger trials to really make sure. And, again, maybe this whole thing is part of the vaccine play, too, because if they can figure out the target, and then Trump can say, oh, just stick it in a vaccine and
right.
Operation Warp Speed. We're going warp speed in this new age.
Well, sounds like the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of theories as to what this whole Trump coronavirus thing could be. And so far, a lot of them are viable. I mean, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. It's too soon. Apparently, he's getting transferred to a hospital. We'll see what happens. Or a secret bunker or a beach in Tahiti. We will see what happens. Obviously, going to be big news for at least a few days until, I don't know, Biden sets all the animals free in the zoo or something. And we have something else to talk about.
Trump is clinically overweight, apparently, at 240 pounds, 6'3" tall. So
that's not even that bad. He's fine. Leave the old man away.
I think you're yeah, okay. I'll just leave that there because I don't want to.
After quarantine guns, my standards have changed.
I was gonna say I don't want to.
6'3", 230. He's fine. Are you saying Trump or Biden? Who is that about?
Trump.
Oh yeah, I would have guessed way more. I would have guessed he's like 280.
280.
Yeah,
280.
bro.
No, man, 280. That's
230 is not even that heavy for somebody who's 6'3". Moving on. You want to hear about some apps? You love apps. Everybody loves apps, Gons.
Sure. Which app are we doing? Before we do the app, do you want to quickly do the vaccine thing?
Sure. You want me to do it? I kind of skimmed through it. I didn't see anything special about it, but if you have...
Well, I mean, it's just...
If you say so.
Okay, first let's play the jingle.
Vaccine.
I think it's interesting to bring up, especially because, it kind of confirms some of the things that we've been reporting as well. And just keeping in mind that this came out before Trump announced his whole thing. But the headline here is coronavirus vaccine trial participants report day-long exhaustion, fever, and headaches, but say it's worth it.
Yeah.
And people, I don't know. Why?
How would they know it's worth it?
Yeah.
They're just assuming that they're immune now.
Right. But it's just such a weird thing. And I just, how is any of it good? High fever, body aches, bad headaches, and exhaustion are some of the symptoms 5 participants in 2 of the leading coronavirus vaccine trials say they felt.
Well, Gons, it's worth it to have day-long exhaustion, fever, and headaches, so you won't catch a disease that gives you exhaustion, fever, and headaches.
Oh, okay. And you can say in your app that you're free, you have the vax now, so you can walk around and walk into stores. And, you walk around without a mask, and people say, "Hey, where's your mask?" And they can say, "I don't need a mask. I got vaxxed, bro," and then bust out their app. I'm giving them the PR for this, for the whole deal, and then they can hold up their app, and then there'll be a big mark on their forehead.
I mean, if given the choice between wearing a mask and getting a vaccine, I would prefer to wear the mask. Of course, that might be the actual choice that we're
slave.
Right. No. Well, of course, I would prefer to not have to do any of it. But if I need a burrito and they won't give me a burrito unless I get the vax or the mask, I will smush that burrito straight through that mask and love every second of it.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. Did you want to go into the
No, I wanted to mention it because it's just another example where they're just pushing this stuff so hard. And so I mean, I was curious because Trump kept saying, like, we're going to have a vaccine. It's going to be ready to go. It'll be ready before the election. But like all reports, and these reports aren't like like anti-Trump reports per se. Like they might say something about Trump, kind of sprinkled in there. But a lot of times it's just like, we're going too fast and there's a lot of side effects and people are getting super sick from these vaccines.
Right.
And so it's just weird. I don't know if it's like a backhanded gotcha Trump or how you going to get over this one, Trump. But
well, Trump is not anti-vax. He's pushing the vax.
I know. That's why it's weird. It's like it's the one topic that seems to have turned off a lot of the really ardent Trump supporters. If you're like a truther type and a Trump supporter, the vaccine issue certainly divided that whole consensus amongst the people that were in that camp. But Operation Warp Speed is mentioned here, and him getting it, just to me, I don't know why, but just my initial reaction to the whole deal was, oh man, he did this to push out a vaccine. And it may not even be a vaccine that like they're working on like this. It might be more like a cocktail vaccine, like the one, we were talking about a moment ago.
Right. Check the label. If it has Chinese writing on it, that's not the vax for you.
That's your only standard?
Well, all this stuff about how the Chinese citizens already have a vaccine that they are dispensing.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was talk, of course, things have changed since then, but there was talk a couple months ago about, Trump and other people being stoked like, oh yeah, China's about to roll out a vaccine. We're all going to be saved. Like, okay, whatever you say.
Interesting.
But let's move on a little bit here. So we've known about contact tracing. We know about there's been various talk about contact tracing apps, et cetera, et cetera. But coming out today, I'm over here on NewYorkPost.com. The article is titled, New App Alerts New Yorkers If They're Near Someone with COVID-19. The surveillance state continues.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
Thank you. There really is an app for everything. Governor Andrew Cuomo on Thursday announced a new smartphone app that can alert residents of New York and 4 other states if they've come in contact with someone who's tested positive for the coronavirus. Quote, what this app will do is it will tell you if you are within 6 feet of a person who tested positive. And if you are within 6 feet of a person who tested positive for 10 minutes, Cuomo during a phone press conference said of the free program called COVID Alert. So this is interesting, just a quick little thing. It might mention it later in the article, but to get precise enough to determine if you're within 6 feet of somebody else who has this app, we're talking about near field Bluetooth technology. This is not GPS. This is phones communicating directly with each other, with other phones that are in the vicinity. This is used for a lot of advertising and tracking all sorts of other stuff. So, but continuing, the app works in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. Quote, the way it will work is when a person tests positive, the Department of Health contacts that person, asks that person if they have an iPhone, gives that person a password, that person types in their password for their phone, and then any other phone that comes within 6 feet of that phone is on the app, said Cuomo. Yeah. The app is also available for Android phones. Yippee! It costs approximately $700,000 to develop. Man, somebody got a cushy contract there. Sourced from both federal funding and support from the philanthropic organization of former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, who has helped bankroll the state's contact tracing program. The governor and his team stressed that privacy is paramount and that no names, location data, and other personally identifying information are involved. What a crazy game this is. It has no information on the actual person that you've come in contact with, but it's just like, ding, ding, someone around you right now in this Taco Bell has COVID. Can you guess who it is?
What was the app that people used to use? Maybe they still use it. Was it Tinder? I don't remember, where you can like look up people near you and do,
you mean
like
the dating app?
Was it a dating app? Something.
Well, I don't know. That's happens a lot. Yeah, I think Tinder has a what is it?
Like a vicinity
it's all
thing.
location based.
Yeah.
You can set your little slider or something.
Man, they were setting us up for this for so long. You know?
The governor and his team stressed that privacy is paramount, and that means no names, location data, or other personally identifying information are involved. Quote, COVID alert New York does not track your location, your movement, or use GPS, said top Cuomo aide Melissa DeRosa. Quote, it does not collect or store any personal information. The app is completely anonymous. Yeah, right. Rather... Quote, it uses, Bluetooth technology to sense proximity to another phone with the same app, but not geographic location. Google, Apple, and the Linux Foundation helped develop the app. You know, having the Linux Foundation in there makes me feel a little bit better. The former two companies had already been lending a high-tech hand in contact tracing in states such as Maryland, Virginia, and Nevada. Quote, I think it's going to not only bring contact tracing to a new level, but give people comfort, said Cuomo of the app. Cuomo, you don't know how humans feel, apparently. That is the opposite of comfort. If you're walking around and suddenly you get an alert, someone around you has corona. Find them.
Is this the Cuomo that had the jewelry in the chest area?
Yeah. Oh, I don't remember. So there's Chris Cuomo, who is a reporter, and there's Andrew Cuomo, and they are brothers. Right. I think it is the mayor who has the nipple piercings.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a whole different set of qualifiers for comfort. I don't trust him. All right. Well, there you go. So, yeah, you know, this is an interesting in the development. Of course, there's been lots of contact tracing apps. This one just seems highly problematic, and they try to skate by with the PR of like, no, don't worry. It doesn't track your GPS or anything like that. But of course, when you dig into the legal labyrinth that is behind these things, it very well could not be directly sending your GPS location to, the health authorities, but, it may have permissions to allow Facebook to read it or, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of ways that they could do it, but I don't even think it's not concerning just because it doesn't have GPS. I mean, I still am stuck in the vision of standing in line at Taco Bell and somebody's alarm little Corona alert goes off, and then it turns into a game of Mafia in the Taco Bell. Jacques Hughes!
People just walking around trying to get out of the zone and then figuring out who it is.
Well, and this even kind of connects with another thing we've been seeing a lot of lately, which is the social stigma around those who do catch coronavirus. Yeah. There's been some articles. I don't have one with me now, but you can Google it if you want. There's a new social stigma where if you catch coronavirus, the assumption is that you're an anti-masker, anti-vaxxer, not being safe, don't care about your grandma, and want to kill children. That's sort of like the
and you're going to die.
Yeah. Well, now, and then you look at the programming aspect of Trump getting COVID and Biden not is, of course, Trump gets COVID. He's a bad person. Right. And only bad people get COVID. See, if Trump has COVID, that means if you have COVID, you're bad. And, I think it's going to go even further to create, it has a real potential to create violence. And so I just thought that was worth a mention while we are all trying to track and be aware of the programming that is happening to us often without our own permission or knowledge. I think you got to be careful.
Yeah.
People who catch COVID are not bad people.
Yeah.
Not that anybody here would think that. It's mostly normies who are on that train.
And speaking of not just contact tracing, but people in the vicinity, it says here, this is CNN.com, Notre Dame president tests positive for COVID-19 nearly a week after attending SCOTUS announcement with no mask. I saw this trending too on the Twitters of people, shaking hands, saying hello, and just people like, this is why you get COVID. Look at these people. They're all just getting COVID.
Right.
So like anytime, it's just so ridiculous that we live in this world now where like you see footage of people shaking hands and it's like, oh, those sick people.
Yeah, it's always a thrill. You always get, so there's been a couple times that, I'll meet somebody, usually an older man. I meet them and they go straight for the handshake. And it's like I'll get butterflies like, oh, I actually get to shake a hand? We're okay with this? We get to be real human beings?
I've had situations where, I say hello to someone and they bust out the elbow. They bring the elbow forward and it's like,
yeah.
Okay, all right, yeah.
It's normalized.
Is it?
Pound
it's
it.
Still weird, man.
Yeah.
I still
think
it's weird.
I get elbows all the time.
I don't like it.
I do want to mention, while we're on the fun topic of this contact tracing in my fun Taco Bell example, I was thinking of it, and I'm now seeing people in the chat trying to figure it out. The name of the R.I.P. Epstein, a.k.a. Lil Mossad, says, what's the indie game that's becoming a meme? It's called Among Us. It's an iPhone game, been around for a couple of years, but recently gotten really popular with the kids. And basically, you're a bunch of little astronauts, and you're on a spaceship. And one of you is an imposter who is sort of running around either killing people or breaking the spaceship, and everybody else has to run around and try to fix it. I've been playing it. It's pretty fun, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like that game Among Us. One of you in this small space needs to be launched out the airlock, and that's what this COVID tracing thing is going to do. Maybe I should put together a Canary Cry Among Us club. I started playing. It's a pretty fun game.
I am curious what test Trump took. Has anybody reported or seen any reports of what kind of test Trump took to actually get the verification?
That's a good question. He's getting the rapid test, the rapid results test, which I believe is not the PCR test, or is the PCR the rapid one?
No, I thought the PCR takes a little longer, but this is Washington Post. Trump administration's new rapid coronavirus tests plagued by confusion and a lack of planning. This was published on September 29th, so again, a few days ago. It says here, the new rapid coronavirus test. Trump heralded the new test on Monday as game changers, fast, cheap, and easy to use. But his administration's deployment of the new tests to nursing homes has been plagued by poor communication, false results, and frustrating lack of planning, state leaders say. So, again, man, the whole thing, and there's a picture of Admiral Brett Grior with just a swab in his nose. Just not the most flattering thing there. But if they did use like they have to report what kind of test they use, because first off, they found out in a couple hours, right? So it had to have been the rapid test. And if there's any kind of a possibility of a false test, I mean, man, I keep going back to this whole thing seems like political theater.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't know if he really has it or not. It doesn't even matter at this point. It's like, what's the play?
That's the point. That is the point. The point is it doesn't actually matter if he has it or not, because whatever the plan is, it's moving on without our permission, Gonzo.
I know. And the thing to think about, too, is remember what happened to Boris? Didn't Boris Johnson get it a few months ago? After he got the virus, do you remember how the UK got just ridiculous with more lockdowns, second wave, and now Boris is out there like, we're gonna, completely changed his tune, and he was like, oh, we're gonna save the world with the UN, and just like, what happened to Boris?
Has been breaking out the Build Back Better
slogan. He's been so
he's been turned.
It's like as soon as you get the virus, it's almost like you're being called into the Illuminati floor.
It's a virus that makes you turns you into a globalist.
Yeah.
Okay, Gons, I'm looking at the time. I think we should take a quick break.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Where is it? Here it is.
It's break time. Come on, take a break.
Yeah, I did kind of throw that curveball quick, but you did good, Gonzo. All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick little break here, but don't go anywhere. After the break, we're going to be talking about a $23 million toilet in space. JP Morgan's running into some trouble there. Got some cryptocurrency news, some Amazon Beast System news, and some more Beast System stuff. It's an exciting second half of show, so don't go anywhere. But before we get to that, we want to take a quick break. Thank some of our new Twitch followers. Thank some producers, etc., etc. So you want to start out with some Twitch followers, Gons?
Let's do it.
Okay, short list today.
Good.
Very short list. So I want to thank Random Man 888.
Rando.
Thank you very much, Random Man. Then we have Meat Allergic. Meat Allergic.
Oh, maybe from the amoeba that makes you allergic to meat?
From the tick.
Or the tick. Was it the tick? Okay.
Yeah, it was the tick in Texas. Watch out. And then lastly, we got Spider Monkey 77.
All right.
Thank you very much to all of our Twitch followers. Remember, if you're watching over on YouTube or anywhere else, it's a good idea to follow us on multiple platforms. Twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio is a good one. Turn on notifications just because, especially if you're on YouTube, it's a very slim chance you're going to get notifications when we get live. And we just want to make sure you catch the show. So follow us all over the place. But Twitch.tv/Canary Cry Radio is a good one. Next, I want to thank some producers, Gons. And for those of you who are new to the show, let me let you know we are on the value for value model. What does that mean? Well, you might be used to listening to podcasts or watching live streams, and they do a lot of ad reads, like Joe Rogan. It's like 10 minutes of ad reads at the beginning of the show. It's become commonplace, and people actually get a little too excited that they got an advertiser, but that's okay. There's lots of different ways to make a piece of media work online. But for us, we just can't bring ourselves to do it. Advertising, one of the biggest scourges of human existence in our time. If you saw The Social Dilemma or keep track of anything going online, you know that when you get an advertisement, it's just not an innocent advertisement. It is the conglomeration of a digital version of you that is projected from every second you spend online is recorded and made into a digital version of you that then gets exploited for advertising purposes. Moving forward, the apocalyptic machine of economic progress by those looking to turn you, dear listener, into a commodity. And advertising, it incentivizes creators like Gons and myself to consider our listeners and viewers as commodities or cattle to be loaded up, counted, and sold to the highest bidder. And we just can't bring ourselves to do that. So instead, we are on the value for value model, which is, believe it or not, probably the most humane way to make media online right now. What does that mean? Well, we create the show, we put it out consistently, and we do a pretty good job. And if you get any value out of the show, whether it be entertainment or education or friendship, whatever it may be, if it helps enlighten your path through this world, navigating the falsehoods and the nonsense, you get the opportunity to put some value back into the show. Simple as that. And, some people, might give $5. It's worth $5. Some people, it's worth $50 and they give $50. That's just kind of the way it goes. And we understand that times are tight, things are tough. So we totally understand if you need to wait to put value back into the system. But I am going to read to you, Gons, a list of people who decided that the show was worth supporting. They are taking responsibility for their own media consumption, and they don't want to be left to the wolves of mainstream media. So here we go. The best way to do that is to go to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. And over there, you can sign up at many different levels. And here we go. I want to thank our first producer, Mike, who upgraded his current support. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
It's hard enough to get new people to support. It's
Be
even
like
harder
Mike.
to get people to upgrade. That's right. Be like Mike. Next, we have producer Josiah. Thank you very much, Josiah. Came in first person in October to support. So thank you very much, Josiah and Mike. Next, we have patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. That's patreon.com/Canary Cry Radio. We have producer Christine. Thank you, producer Christine.
Thank you, Christine. Very generous.
Yeah, you're the best. I think that was an upgrade, if I remember correctly. But either way, thank you so much, Christine, for becoming a producer. Next, we have producer Big Axe.
007.
That's right, Big Axe 007. And he came in, he's a 33 producer. Came in at the 33 level. Thank you very much, Big Axe. Now, here's the thing. If you don't like Patreon, that's okay. There's a lot of reasons not to like Patreon. So, as an alternative, you have canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. canarycryradio.com/support is your place for non-Patreon support of the show. We've got PayPal options. You can join up for a monthly producership, or if commitment's not your thing, you can make a one-time producership in any amount. There's also cryptocurrency and all sorts of fun other ways to support over there. Gons, who do we have coming in on PayPal?
We have a good handful of people, actually. It was a big day, so we really appreciate all the producers out there. And, you know,
it was a nice episode 250 bump.
Yes, and we sent out an email to the email list that we have for anybody who wants to understand what it means to become a producer of the show. And we call you producers because people have asked, like, it's just giving money. Why are people that give money producers? And it's really, if you look at Hollywood down there where they do all the craziness, there's a lot of roles that producers play. One of them is the financial support. And if you're giving financially, then you are producing the show. It really is
it's the real world, baby. We're not being cute. If you pay for a show to be created, you're a producer of the show. That's just how it works. And you can put it on your resume. For those people who support, who are producers today, you can put Canary Cry News Talk episode 250 producer, and feel free to give our email. We will vouch for you for sure.
You can use us as reference. Okay, so list of people here through the PayPal. First, we have Eli coming in.
Thank you, producer Eli.
And we also have Matt coming in. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt,
for your support.
Matt had a fun support thing. He had a little note, and he is producing with $4.20, $4.20. He said, if we can make 33 cool again, why not try to make 420 cool? I don't know. We'll see if it catches on, Matt.
We'll see. Yeah,
we'll see.
A little harder. Hitler's birthday. Not.
Oh yeah, that's
not
tough.
too. But I like the producer,
the creativity.
Input. The input coming in from a producer. And then I'd like to also thank Sergey.
Thank you, Sergey.
You get the triple bell there, Sergey, because Sergey came in with 3 separate support amounts. It was $3.33, and then a $7.50 for
the Trump tax.
Trump tax, and a $7.77. We get that a lot too, by the way. We get the 777 quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We don't always mention it, but thank you for that. And next up, Eli. Thank you, Eli.
You're going out of order here. You mentioned Eli twice. That's okay, though.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, Eli.
There you go. Eli. Number 4.
Eli gets a thing. And all right. So here, okay, let's get all the 33s out of the way. $33. Again, not something we asked for, but people have decided that this is a thing.
Organic
First off,
movement.
Yeah, organic movement to take back 33. First off, Ciara. Thank you, Ciara.
Thank you, Ciara.
Coming in at
Producer Ciara.
$33. And thank you, David. $33.33.
Producer David.
Doubling up. And we also have, let's see, Julie. Thank you, Julie, coming in.
Thank you, Julie, very much.
And
Producer Julie.
Bush Protector. Thank you, Bush Protector, once
Thank you,
again.
Bush Protector.
And this is another Trump tax.
Yeah, he did the big Trump tax, $75. Thank you, Bush.
Thank you, Bush Protector. And Eli. Thank you, Eli.
Oh my gosh. Eli, it's your lucky day.
The Book of Eli. All right. Other ways you can support the show, you can support us with cryptocurrencies. CanaryCryRadio.com/crypto to learn all about that. You can send us jingles. And we didn't get any jingles today, but we did get some art.
One art,
Okay.
please.
Art time.
Art time. We always appreciate, again, whether it's by your treasure or your talents, we appreciate the producership. First, I wanted to share, some of these are, I guess they're close enough to show stuff. I don't think that they were necessarily made for the show, but I'll make an exception here today just because we sent out the mass email, and hopefully people will start listening to the show that were on the email list and perhaps, doesn't listen to every show. Okay. But we have Lek, I don't know how to pronounce this, LEK3CT, Mineralink, and this is kind of like, the menorah, I think, but the Neuralink. Manuralink?
Yeah, I was kind of trying to figure this out. I don't know if I fully understand it. I love the art, though. I wonder if this is a Ccnt-related thing.
Perhaps.
That looks like a little booth.
Yes, so there's a man in a robe, and he's asking, we would like to upgrade our link. And then another man who I think is
Elon Musk.
Yeah, I think it's Elon, is saying, just step behind the veil.
Ooh.
With a 3-eye smiley face. And there's like a veil, and then I think that's a sheep or a pig?
Looks like some sort of thing. I think it's a pig. I think it's a Elon pig. It's Gertrude.
Ah, it's Gertrude. Yes.
Yes. So they're trying to upgrade their Neuralink for maybe the Feast of Sukkot.
Neuralink.
Neuralink. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Very, very. This is a deep thinker we have here.
Yep. Many layers. Very meta. Keep it up. LEK3CT. Thank you for that. We also have, this one was from Mark. This is a Trump black hole news reference. This was more specific to the show, but on the left, you have Trump saying, there is no big, beautiful black hole at the center of the earth. That is fake news. And then on the right, the MSM News, breaking news, Trump denies scientific facts again. Yes. And there's a news reporter
referring to the fake news about 13 scientists saying that there was a black hole at the center of the earth.
Right.
That was a story we did on last episode.
Yes, so very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Loving it.
Good reference to the show.
Who is this, Mike?
This is from Mark.
Mark. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark. Again, show-related. We always love the show-related images and jingles and everything else. Next, we have Vivian, who came in. She sent a painting that she did, and it's CERN. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, this was cool. No, let's talk about this, then I have a comment to make.
Okay, yeah, so this is the Large Hadron Collider, CERN. It looks like there's some kind of robot entity sort of in between the two.
Yeah, this is very cool.
Yeah, I think this is like a legit painting. This is, something you can hang on the wall. And then you have what looks like angels and someone on the ground.
Yeah, it's like a reference to some Renaissance type art when and like an angel would appear and people would be all afraid. It's some old-timey people in robes, and this big robot figure coming out of CERN. They're sort of either afraid or praising it or something like that. Very A very nice piece. I like it.
It's a very good piece. What were you going to say?
Okay, the comment I wanted to say is there's for those who are watching live versus those who listen to the podcast.
Okay.
Basil's True Love said, I love that Basil always mansplains. And I do when it comes to the art, because you got to remember there's thousands of people who are just listening to the podcast
right.
and they're not looking at the art. So
Yeah.
yes, part of what we must do is explain the art in an adequate way where podcast listeners aren't just left out from the art experience.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Yeah, we have to repaint it for the mind, for people listening. Yes. Okay, so not to be outdone by the CERN painting, Yvonne came in with CERN Demons. This is a little more fun. It's the CERN, like the spiral CERN circular collider view
the photo
picture
of the inside of CERN.
Right, and then it's got a whole bunch of demons coming out of it, but they're all like cute demons.
Yeah, they're like the
cute
Disney,
Rona demons.
The Disney demons.
The Disney demons.
And there's some coronavirus, angry coronavirus particles coming out too.
Yeah. Black demons,
thanks,
red
CERN.
demons. Thanks, CERN. It's the CERN virus. Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic if Trump was like, it's the CERN virus. Like, what? What are you talking about? And then all of us that listen would be like, yay, he said it.
I want to thank future ex Mrs. Mecha Basil, who said mecha-splain it. That's what I'm doing. I'm mecha-splaining the arts.
So the mech can understand it. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, and last but not least, Allie. This is Rosewater 2020. Clearly
oh my gosh.
better than, what was it? Sorry, I lost the full title.
Better than the other options.
Better than the other options, yes.
I was so happy to see this come through. And for those who are not seeing it, it's on the left, we've got Donald Trump. And again, Allie has not on Trump, but really captured the spirit of Trump in this image. I went through a process of, I looked at Trump on the left. I went, wow, that is so funny. That's good. He's even got a little C on his jacket. And, for coronavirus, because you never know. Then there's me in the middle, and I got my big fake beard on, my backwards hat, my sunglasses. She's getting pretty good at, I'm a little worried now. She might blow up my spot, but she's doing a great job at depicting me in drawings. Very good. Keep it up. And then on the far left, which is really the punchline of the whole thing.
You mean the far right?
Far right. Joe Biden trying so hard to put on a mask, and it's like covering his whole face. Oh, it's just Allie, Gazel and Bonds in the chat, youngest known producer of Canary Cry News Talk. This was really a masterpiece. I appreciate that. I am among the candidates. Rosewater 2020.
Yeah, if people didn't know who you were, who this was in the middle, they might think this is Vermin Supreme, who does walk around with a huge beard. Although he doesn't have a shoe on his head, so
yeah. I'm looking at some people in the chat. Think I look like a Proud Boy there.
Oh no! Stand down, stand back,
stand down. ZZ Top, got some real ZZ Top vibes. Yeah. There you go. Thank you very much, Allie. Gazel and Bonds in the chat. Make sure to thank your artists and your producers today, folks in the chat there. Allie again, and all of our artists. Thank you very much for the magnificent masterpieces.
Yes, thank you for all the producerships and yes. We forgot to mention, snail mail. We need a snail mail jingle. Anybody out there? The first one that I wanted to read, I have it here. It says, Basil and Gons, thank you for your show, Canary Cry News Talk Radio Podcast. I listen on iHeartRadio.
I didn't even know we were on that.
We're everywhere. You make my day happy. Signed, Dooley's mom. Thank you, Dooley's mom. And
she came in with a Trump tax donation.
That's right.
$75.
$75. So thank you for that.
Very much.
Appreciate it.
Mom.
We will give
Producer Dooley's mom.
Yep, producer Dooley's mom. And also, we got another snail mail gift from Old to Box. And Old Two Box came in before, but this time it was another large amount. Very, very generous.
Thank
Old
you
Two
so
Box,
much.
you're a knight. You're going to be knighted. We sent an email to you asking for your knight name. We haven't received it yet, so we won't do the whole ceremony on this episode, but do get back to us so we can properly knight you.
Yes, it's about time we knight somebody into the Canary Cry round table of knights and dames.
It's been a while. I don't know how much I can read of this note.
I don't know. If they don't, it's a little, you got to be careful. We don't want to give anything away.
I know. Well, I will say that he included a paper rocket inside. Ooh. And although he had to bend it to make it fit into the envelope. But it says, it says that he included that. And so, yes, I don't know what else to say.
We'll get in contact with you, Old Two Box. We'll get your knighting information. Very generous. Thank you so much.
Oh, I just want to mention this because they said that Old Two Box, said that he asked the producers to pray for rain where he is.
Oh, yeah.
And
this was awesome.
And it came only hours later. So thanks, Canarians. Woo.
Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, and just to plug them too, Canary Prayer at gmail.com is the Canary Cry prayer team. And if you have any prayers from small to large to praying for rain, apparently that was a prayer request and it came. It happened.
Yeah.
God is good. So yes, we are a very active part of the Canary Cry family, canaryprayer at gmail.com. Send your prayer requests or get connected with them in whatever way you want.
All right. So thank you, Old Two Box. You will be knighted as soon as we find out all your info there for knighting. And also thank you to That Night Wind, your continued producership and giving us the timestamps for everything. We really appreciate that. What else? Are we doing this one here?
I think we're done. No,
Are you doing reviews or are you doing that later?
Oh, I am doing reviews.
Yeah.
I think we should do it right now. This is great. Good timing. Okay. So, another great way to help out the show is leaving ratings and reviews. To do that, just Google search or Bing or whatever you do, DuckDuckGo, search Canary Cry News Talk, Apple Podcasts, and then press leave a review. Leave a review there. And it really helps us out. It's one of those weird things about what we do is that we have no control over the algorithms really on iTunes. It's really all about people who leave ratings and reviews. We can't do anything except for encourage you to do that. Because Gonz and I read them all and we love them and it makes us feel good. Secondly, it directly affects the algorithms on iTunes and other podcatchers to share the show with people who have not heard about it before. So I'm going to go down the line here. First of all, I want to thank For the Remnant. And the subject line is, if you love me, guard my commandments. 5-star review says, what started off as a humble attempt to parse through current events through the lens of biblical prophecy, Canary Cry News Talk has grown into so much more. Join Basil and Gonz as they take you on a walk down an aisle that doesn't exist. In that they assist their audience in taking a step back from the left-right paradigm and show the world for what it really is. Lest we forget, quote, take heed that no man deceive you was a commandment, not some political suggestion. Put on the full armor of Yahweh and join us as we do battle against the principality and power of the airwaves. Who knows? Maybe if you stick around long enough, you can learn how to not accidentally marry a Nephilim. Thank you For the Remnant. Very good review. Next, we have another 5-star from Olson Cowboy Joel. Great show. I love listening to the show. There we go. Short and sweet. Thank you, Olson Cowboy Joel. Next, we have Deadpool Wilson. Would give 100 stars if I could. You guys are hands down the best podcast out there. Your presentation is flawless. Well, that's very kind.
Very generous there.
A very generous guy here. Thank you. I know every episode I get the truth, and that's what a lot of podcasters lack. Keep up the great work, longtime listener. Sincerely, Clinton. Oh, Clinton killed Epstein from Leechburg, Pennsylvania. Thank you very much, Deadpool Wilson. Next, we have Damali Wally. Cool podcast, 5 stars. I had always said I was going to write a review, but never got around to it. I like the chemistry you guys have and the fact that your perspectives all point to God, because that's what it is all about at the end of the day. It's hard to find a podcast where people are concerned with scripture and looking through events in the world through a biblical perspective. Been a longtime fan and definitely love the show. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Damali Wali. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Just a couple more short ones here. I kind of got lost in the fray. I might repeat one from last time, but it's fun anyways. Cheeky Cheebs, 5 stars. Sweet doggy dog. These dogs are the real deal. Woo-wee. Listen in for a sweet doggy dog ride. Thank you very much, Cheeky Cheebs. Then we have iFaith 1215, 5 stars. The best. Best podcast, period. Do you even Canary cry? If you don't, you oughta. Thank you very much, iFaith 1215. So there we go.
Appreciate it.
I love review day. I will be reading reviews again next Friday. So if you have not left a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts for Canary Cry News Talk, please go and do that, and you'll be on the show next Friday. Okay, that's all I got, Gons.
That's all you got. I'm going to do this because I saw it come in, and because it's the end of the week, I just want to include it because I'll forget for Monday. Okay. But on PayPal, we had Andrea come in with a producership. So thank you, Andrea. You came in during the show, and we usually don't we try to hold off on it, but might as well. I saw you in there, so thank you, Andrea.
We see you.
Yeah, we see you, and it's a new monthly payment. So thank you, we appreciate that.
Wonderful.
And all the people who are subscribed to multiple. Or just not just a one-time
on
gift,
monthly donations.
Yeah, monthly donations. We really appreciate that. We don't give you guys enough credit because it's monthly, and we don't want to make the segment longer than it has to be. But we see you. We thank you. We really appreciate it. Yep. There you go.
Okie dokie. Let's wake up.
Let's wake up. Oh, got a clicky.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, I'm going to start us off here, Gons, at fox5sandiego.com. And the article is titled, do you have a jingle for this one?
Well, the whole set of things that we're going to talk about is all money related, so I'll just set it up here.
$100 billion. I don't have any money.
Space. Wanna go to space?
Woo! Okay, NASA's new $23 million titanium space toilet ready to blast off for testing. That's right, Gons.
Ready to blast off.
Ready
I'm
to
sure this
blast
guy
off.
was really excited to.
Oh, he's so pumped. NASA's first new space potty in decades. Oh my gosh, they've been using decades-old space bodies. A $23 million titanium toilet better suited for women. Oh, is getting a not-so-dry run at the International Space Station before eventually flying to the moon. It's packed inside a cargo ship set to blast off late Thursday from Wallops Island, Virginia. Barely 100 pounds and just 28 inches tall, it's roughly half as big as the 2 Russian-built toilets. Ooh, a Russian-built toilet, bigger than American toilet. At the space station. It's more camper size to fit into the NASA Orion capsule that will carry astronauts to the moon in a few years. Station residents will test it out for a few months. If the shakedown goes well, the toilet will be open for regular business. With SpaceX now launching astronauts to the space station and Boeing less than a year from sending up its first crew, more toilets are needed. The new one will... You know what? That's a good point. There's only a couple toilets in all of outer space. Wow.
If there is an outer space.
I never
maybe it's just a couple toilets on the firmament.
Yeah, touche. The new one will be in its own stall alongside the old one on the U.S. side of the outpost. Oh, yeah, American USA, number one. We get the cool new $23 million toilet. The old toilets cater more towards men. To better accommodate women, NASA tilted the seat on the new toilet and made it taller. The new shape should help astronauts position themselves better for number 2, said Johnson Space Center's Melissa McKinley, the project manager. Wow. God bless you, Melissa McKinley. Quote, cleaning up a mess is a big deal. We don't want any misses or escapes. What do you mean escapes?
Is this like assuming there's a zero gravity station up there? Is this this has got to be like an issue, right? That we just don't hear about,
Yeah, not enough.
Not enough again.
Not enough. Let's just say everything floats in weightlessness. As for number 1, the funnels have also been redesigned. Women can use the elongated and scooped out funnels to urinate while sitting on the commode to poop at the same time, McKinley said. They put so much energy into not saying poop this entire article.
And then they just gave up.
They dodged and weaved it so many times, and then they finally said it. Okay. Until now, it's been one or the other for female astronauts, she noted. Like earlier space commodes, air suction rather than water and gravity removes the waste. Urine collected by the new toilet will be routed into NASA's long-standing recycling system, to produce water for drinking and cooking. Wow. Titanium and other tough alloys were chosen for the new toilet to withstand all the acid in the urine pre-treatment. Going to the bathroom in space may sound simple, but sometimes the simple things become very difficult. Without gravity, said NASA, astronaut Mike Hopkins, commander of the second SpaceX crew, due to launch October 31st from Kennedy Space Center. Oh, that's fun. We'll have to tune in for that. While the old design is, what if this entire article was just this entire article was actually a paid for sponsorship to tell people about the SpaceX launch?
Oh, it could be. Yeah.
It probably is. It's the only thing that makes sense. While the old design isn't that hard to use, subtle design changes make all the difference for women, noted NASA astronaut Shannon Walker, a former space station resident who's also on the next SpaceX crew. Quote, trust me, I've got going to the bathroom in space down because that is vital thing to know how to do. No kidding. She told the Associated Press earlier this week. Okay, almost done. The typical space station population will go from 6 to 7 with the next SpaceX flight, and even more when non-professionals like tourists start showing up as early as next year. Astronauts normally stay 6 months. The last time NASA ordered up a new toilet was in the early 1990s to accommodate 2-week space shuttle missions. The agency contracted with Collins Aerospace to provide the latest model. The company also worked on the shuttle potties. Also in the 8,000-pound shipment aboard Northrop Grumman's Cygnus capsule air tanks to make up for a slight space station leak. Oh gosh, radish seeds for greenhouse growing, and a cinematic 360-degree VR camera for You Are There spacewalk shots. Perhaps the most unique payload, Estee Lauder's newest wrinkle serum. The cosmetics company is paying $128,000 for an out-of-this-world photo shoot, part of NASA's push to open the final frontier to marketing, industry, and tourism. No! NASA has succumbed to the wiles of the advertising industry.
Oh, like they haven't been part of the propaganda machinery since its inception.
Touche. Don't count on perfumed aromas, though, counter bathroom odors. Okay, very clever. The serum is fragrance-free, and the 10 bottles will remain sealed until return to Earth in early next year. Maybe this was a paid advertisement for this Estee Lauder cream.
Yeah, well, probably
I think
both.
That's what it was.
Probably both.
Yes, they brought in a bunch of money with this article. All right.
My whole thing is, we have an economy the true economy, not the stock market, but like the economy that's sort of falling apart right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're going to do is spend $23 million on a titanium space toilet.
I know. That is a ridiculous
Just
sum of money.
priorities.
That's taxpayer dollars.
I know. The priorities are just completely out of whack. I mean,
$23 million. You could have brought a bunch of people out of homelessness for that amount.
yeah. Think of how many people could actually go to the restroom on Earth, cleanly. But
that could buy a lot of porta potties.
Yeah,
you can save
worried.
San Francisco from having a feces problem in their streets.
I know. And the other thing too is, and this is just more evidence that regardless of whatever's up there, we're not supposed to be up there. We're terra firma creatures. Because if you're going, 1 or 2, and you got to have some kind of gravity suction device, a $23 million device, to not have it go everywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not supposed to be there.
Dento being in the chat makes a good point. They said subtle changes to the original design. Subtle changes cost $23 million. They said a slight angle to the seat and I don't know, something else.
Yeah, they couldn't
vacuum.
They couldn't spend a few dollars on a potty clip thing, just with this kind of thing they use for the kids, little extra seat.
I have the only reference I have for potty training children is I got my cats an automatic litter box, so I don't have to do it by hand anymore.
Fantastic.
Yes, the robots, they're taking over.
Yeah, good. Okay, well, just thought I'd include that to make us all feel horrible about life.
Yeah. What's next? The recycling urine thing, it makes sense now why they had to create Tang, because you got to hide the taste of the recycled urine.
Lovely.
Yeah. Moving on.
Moving on. More about money here. Again, priorities being messed up. This is Bloomberg.com. JP Morgan admits spoofing by 15 traders. 2 desks in record deal. And it says here, JP Morgan Chase & Co. admitted wrongdoing and agreed to pay more than $920 million to resolve U.S. authorities' claims of market manipulation involving 2 of the bank's trading desks, the largest sanction ever tied to the illegal practice known as spoofing. We'll get to what spoofing is real quick, but that's almost $1 billion they're paying.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. Over 8 years, 15 traders at the biggest U.S. bank caused losses of more than $300 million to other participants in precious metals and treasury markets, according to court filings on Tuesday. JP Morgan admitted responsibility for the traders' actions. The Justice Department filed 2 counts of wire fraud against the bank's parent company, but agreed to defer prosecution related to the charges under a 3-year deal that requires the bank to report its remediation and compliance efforts to the government. The settlement included fresh details about spoofing on the bank's treasury's desk, which was occurring at the same time as previously alleged market manipulation on the bank's precious metals desk. 5 traders on the Treasury's desk manipulated prices of U.S. Treasury contracts, as well as trading in notes and bonds in the secondary market over 8 years, according to the settlement, causing $106 million in losses to other parties in the market. None of those traders have been charged publicly. Members of that group openly discussed their illegal strategies via chats, with one trader writing on 6 occasions that he was spoofing the market, according to the government's statement of facts.
Whoa, what a dummy. You don't make a chat trail.
I know. Another Treasuries trader in November 2012 chat described his success in moving the market by tricking high-frequency traders, quote, a little razzle-dazzle to juke the algos. There's somebody else doing a little razzle-dazzle. Basil? No?
Are you going to play it?
I'm looking for the jingle. I was hoping you'd fill in the gap as I try to find my razzle-dazzle.
Stalling razzle-dazzle.
I don't think I have it.
Catchphrase. Oh.
I don't have it ready on me. Although,
while we're taking a breather here, $920 million. Joe O's did the math in the chat. That's 40 space toilets.
Only 40, huh?
Yeah.
Seems like it would be more.
Hey, it's an expensive space toilet.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, hold on. Where's my razzle dazzle? Oh boy.
This is that flawless production.
Yeah,
they were referring to in the review.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it.
It's okay.
I need to label things better.
Just get back to
Okay, here we go. The accord also ends the criminal investigations of the bank that led to a half a dozen employees being charged for allegedly rigging the price of gold and silver futures from 2008 to 2016. 2 have entered guilty pleas, and 3 traders and a former J.P. Morgan salesman are awaiting trial. In all, according to the settlement deal, 10 J.P. Morgan traders caused losses of $206 million to other parties in the market. And let me get to the part where it talks about spoofing in general here.
Mm-hmm.
Spoofing typically involves flooding derivatives markets with orders that traders don't intend to execute to trick others into moving prices in a desired direction. The practice has become a focus for prosecutors and regulators in recent years after lawmakers specifically prohibited it in 2010. While submitting the canceling orders isn't illegal, it is unlawful as part of a strategy intended to dupe other traders. You know what this reminds me of, Basil? Is if you study the French War and or the Battle of Waterloo and how the Rothschilds took over England. This is kind of what they did. They sold all their stock, and then they made it look like that they England lost the war, lost the battle, or Britain lost the battle, and so everybody else started to sell. And meanwhile, other people were sort of buying up the stock. It wasn't called stock back then. I can't remember what it was in the whatever, the 1600s. But the other agents of Rothschilds were buying up the stock at pennies on the dollar. And again, it wasn't dollars. I get it. But just, anyway, picking it up very cheap while everybody else sold. And so this is kind of a similar thing where they put in all these orders and people say, oh, it must be going up. And so everybody starts buying, or they pull back on the orders and people start selling. Based on the volume.
Similar to what you see the result from whale movements in the crypto market.
Yeah. Well, any market really, but yeah, exactly. Yeah. Orders come in, and people, or I guess your normie traders will think that the market is going to move one way or another, and so they all pile in one direction or another, and then the big whales come in, and then everybody gets wrecked, and the whales make money.
Pilgrim's Progress in chat says ask stacking. I think I've heard that before.
Yes. Yeah. So
make it look like there's more demand than there actually is.
Right. Exactly. We've talked about in brief how J.P. Morgan, people are getting arrested for this kind of thing for the last couple of years now, at least. But I mean, I guess it's coming down even harder, and still it's weird because the prices of especially precious metals is still very tightly controlled. It's not it's not a free open market there on the precious metals market. But anyway, just thought I'd report it.
Are we hearing that some Wall Street guys are actually going to go to jail maybe?
Yeah, but 15 guys. 15 traders, not even like executives or anything.
That's just 15 traders. More than we've seen before.
I know, but it's more like the execs like throwing these guys under the bus. These guys can go to jail.
These are the fall guys.
Yeah, these guys are the bad ones. Oh, look at him. He left a chat.
Yeah.
Left a chat.
Yeah, look at his chat.
Look at his chat. Look at his chat. Go get him.
What a dummy.
Yeah, but it all plays into the great economic reset, in my opinion. The whole quote unquote cleanup job. And this is something that's also happening in the crypto markets as we report the next story here. It has to do with Bitcoin and blockchain.
Blockchain. This is Forbes.com. BitMEX charged with failing to prevent money laundering. Wow. BitMEX, a cryptocurrency exchange that allows you to trade digital assets with up to 100 times leverage, has been charged with failing to prevent money laundering and offering U.S. customers crypto illicit derivative trading services. Wow, that sounds complicated. Arthur Hayes, 34, Ben Delo, 36, and Samuel Reed, 31, as well as its first employee, Gregory Dwyer, 37, have been charged with violating the Bank Secrecy Act and conspiracy to violate the act by, quote, willfully failing to establish, implement, and maintain an adequate anti-money laundering program. According to the statement by the United States Office in Southern District of New York, Reed has been arrested while Hayes, Delo, and Dwyer remain at large. At large. Yeah.
Which means they're on the run.
These nerds are at large. Each charge carries a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison. Okay, so that's doable. Then it kind of goes into just some stuff, but I want to mention this exact thing regarding the Bank Secrecy Act and them failing to establish, implement, and maintain adequate anti-money laundering program. That's exactly what came out in the FinCEN files. Mm-hmm. It came out a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where banks, basically every large bank, knows about and ignores and fails to report obvious money laundering scams, and they're not actually required to report it. I mean, they just kind of been letting it go, and nobody's going to get in trouble for it. And yet, because this is a cryptocurrency exchange and not a big global bank chain, these 30-something nerds, and I say that lovingly, are getting thrown in the clanker when, all the big worldwide banks are getting away with it and are incentivized to get away with it.
Yeah.
This is total double standard, anti...
Well,
I don't know, 30-somethings.
Well, it's anti. Well, the thing is, there's no actual proof that BitMEX was laundering any money. It's possible that they were.
They weren't laundering it.
Well, they weren't laundering it, but yeah, they didn't have any measures to know if they were, or if people were using it to launder money or not.
Right.
But the fact that they didn't comply with the CFTC regulations is why they're being taken down. And this is actually a big institutional play because there's a I guess he's a YouTuber, but he's more like a developer guy out there that said that he was about to start his own derivatives exchange through Binance, which is a company started in China. And he was told by his lawyers, they passed all the regulatory stuff early on, and he was about to go through with it with his team, but he was told by a lawyer like several months ago that the Fed and the DOJ, everyone's going to start cracking down on cryptocurrency exchanges that don't comply because the traditional stock markets, they want to create the Bitcoin ETF, the electronic transfer fund, I think, and they want that. They only want a futures market on the big stock market. They don't want independent people to be able to trade futures or leverage or anything.
And these banks are working Bitcoin wallets and stuff into their system.
Right.
They want to absorb cryptocurrency into the traditional industry rather than let these new innovative millennials make their Bitcoin exchange or their cryptocurrency exchanges.
Yeah. So, you don't have to read this all the way through, but I thought it was interesting that...
it gets a little monotonous in there, but so I figured just us talking about it would be a little bit more helpful.
Yeah. And it's fascinating because, again, a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was last week, we reported how Kraken got a banking license. And Kraken's a crypto exchange that now acts... It's the first crypto bank in the world. Official, like institutionalized crypto bank. And on the other end, we have BitMEX, the mercantile exchange here, being taken out, basically.
Yeah, they were a platform that was allowing, like you said, mercantile crypto payments, right?
Right. Yeah, I think so. It was just it was an exchange. So we'll see what happens, and I'm really curious about what's going to take place with the emergence of DEXs, DEX, decentralized exchanges, where nobody's really in charge of it. There's not like a central authority that's gatekeeping the crypto
it's an
trades.
actual free market.
It's an actual free market. I don't know. I mean, they can go after developers and stuff, but you jail the developers. How are you going to shut down? I mean, I guess they can shut it down through ICANN. They can shut down the domain and stuff like that. But it's interesting. It's a war. It's an economic war taking place.
It really is, and it's a big part of the economic war going on.
Yeah, and people don't really realize how much of it is taking place here. Generationally, it's like intergenerational as well as intertechnical, because the technology, as it progresses, is creating new tools, which means new weapons, and which means new ways to usurp the authorities. But what's fascinating is that as it's happening, as young people, we're like, yeah, down with the system, use all the cutting edge technology to take down the globalist new world order, thing. Right. You're basically building the technocracy of the future. So it's kind of like, okay, all right. Either way, we're in the beast system, and this next story, or last couple stories here, they're both beast system related. I'll take this one here.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
This was published on Vox.com.
Vox.
Love Vox. Amazon will now let you pay with your palm in its stores. Yeah, palm.
Your palm.
Yeah. Amazon accounts for nearly 40% of e-commerce sales in the U.S. today, and it takes a cut of even more online shopping by selling payments, services, and other technologies to external shopping sites. Now, the online retail giant is making a play to grab a piece of brick-and-mortar shopping too, and it wants customers to literally lend a hand to do it. Very clever. Amazon on Tuesday is unveiling a new biometric technology called Amazon One that allows shoppers to pay at stores by placing their palm over a scanning device when they walk in the door or when they check out. The first time they register to use this tech, a customer will scan their palm and insert their payment card at the terminal. After that, they can simply pay with their hand. The hand scanning tech isn't just for Amazon's own stores. The company hopes to sell it to other retailers, including competitors too.
Wow, they must really be stoked on this technology.
Which goes to show this is beast material here. The technology will be available at the entrance of two of the company's Amazon Go cashier-less convenience stores in Seattle, Washington, starting Tuesday, and will roll out to the rest of the chain's 20-plus stores in the future. Amazon Vice President Dilip Kumar told Recode in an interview Monday. Recode reported in December that Amazon had filed a patent application for such a hand payment technology. The technology could also show up in Whole Foods stores, with Amazon hinting in a press release that it will introduce palm payments in the coming months at its other stores beyond its Amazon Go locations. Kumar wouldn't comment on a potential Whole Foods implementation though the New York Post reported a year ago that such a plan was in the works. But the Amazon executive did make it clear that the company expects to sell the technology to other retailers like it began doing earlier this year with its Just Walk Out technology, the cocktail of cameras, sensors, and computer vision software that powers Amazon Go stores. Kumar said the Amazon One pitch to other retailers is straightforward. Reduce friction for your customers at checkout, thereby shortening lines and increasing how many shoppers are served along the way. Just so much better. Just wave your hand.
Yeah, this is really interesting because it seems superfluous. Like, why would you? What is the point? And now, keep in mind, the interesting thing about this technology is this is not a chip technology. This is not a chip in your hand as we're sort of used to hearing about, especially recently. This is more like taking a fingerprint, only it takes your palm print. It's like a palm reader.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh,
that
witchcraft.
Could be. We should be. That can be our exit strategy. Our unsavory exit strategy is like Get a palm reading and buy your food.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Well, it's like, why? Like, you already have your phone and your card. What is the point of taking this palm biometric scan? I don't know if I fully understand. Now, this is an extremely long article, so I don't think we're going to read the whole thing. Yeah. But Amazon, of course, being leading the way and destroying the world one human soul at a time. But this is kind of I don't know. You could really get pretty squirmy with some of the reasons why they would be obsessed with taking your palm reading.
Well, so I'm going to read the last 3 paragraphs here. The executive added that Amazon chose palm scans over other biometric options for a few reasons. One, he said, is that it's not easy for bad actor to identify a person by simply viewing an image of their hand, if that material ever leaked. Okay. Another is the uniqueness of each person's hand. Quote, even identical twins have many differences in their palm structure, he said. A spokesperson added that the images are encrypted when scanned and then sent to a highly secure area we custom built in the cloud for analysis and storage. That sounds so dystopian.
Cool.
Yeah. To some, the upside still won't be worth it. Quote, how lazy are people that they will hand over their handprints so they don't have to take out their wallet? My wife asked when I mentioned the new technology to her in an embargoed dinner table discussion.
Embargoed, that's funny. But that's what I'm saying. What's the point? You still have to take out your card anyways.
Well, I think it's the first time. Once you're in the data,
it just keeps it on file.
Yeah, well, I think once you're in the database, you could just wave your hand the next time.
We can just save 3 seconds.
but Apple's Touch ID fingerprint scanning tech and his Face ID scanning tech also seems a little crazy at first until they weren't. I don't know. It's still pretty crazy to me. And if enough customers trust Amazon with the trade-off, physical retailers will face an interesting dilemma: chase the future by aligning with the most powerful tech company in the world, or in retail, or stick to the present and hope their customers don't stray as a result.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I mean, it sounds. You know what this would be cool for is like a movie. It would be a cool thing to see in a movie, but when you think about the logistics of it in real life, it's not that cool. It's like not even that convenient.
No.
I mean, I get it. It is more convenient. I guess you just wave your hand, but it's so hard. I mean, even using my card, it doesn't read half the time. What are the chances that my hand can be perfectly readable every time?
Well, you obviously don't understand the tech. Yeah, maybe this is a ruse for the chip.
Well, I think the most I don't even know what I'm trying to say. More than anything, this is normalizing biometrics,
right?
Is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get used to waving your hand in front of the thing, and then suddenly, oh, you could do this everywhere if you just get the chip.
Yeah. Well, that or the biometric side of things always plays into it because you're basically using your body as the marker. Your body becomes your identity to verify a transaction, which sounds very, mark of the beast. Revelation 13, can't buy or sell without the mark.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the thing too. I mean, it's not just waving your hand. It's like in the future, maybe you have to have a symbol on your hand, as part of your being.
Yeah,
like
get your little Amazon tattoo.
Yeah.
Your Luciferase quantum dot Amazon logo.
And like Jeff Bezos' face on your hand or something.
All right, let's jump to our last thing here.
All right, last story here. This isn't really a story. Somebody shared this with us. Do you remember who it was? I don't remember who shared it.
It's on Twitter. I can jump over while you try to play a jingle.
Well, it is a creepy beast jingle again.
Speaking of the beast system, beast system.
Artificial intelligence.
We've reported on stories like this, but this was pretty disgusting. I was disgusted.
Adam 42. shared it with
Adam
us.
42. Yes,
Thank you,
we see
Adam
you in the
42.
chat all the time. And
I think he was in the chat today too.
Yeah. Yeah, this really sickened me. I didn't like this at all. The tweet by... Oh, should I just play it?
Read the tweet. And
okay,
then,
so the tweet was by @ChangeTheRef, and it says, in 2018, Joaquin Oliver was shot and killed in the Parkland school shooting. His parents used AI to bring him back to tell people how voting can prevent these kinds of tragedies from happening to any more families. And here is the video.
I am Patricia Oliver, and this is my husband, Manuel. 2 years ago, our beautiful son, Joaquin, was shot and killed at Parkland. Every day I think about him and what his last moments must have been like.
Meanwhile, every day, nearly 100 more families lose someone they love to gun violence. Every single day, we keep telling people it doesn't have to be like this. They don't listen. So we found a way to bring back someone that no one will ignore.
It's very hard for me to look at this. So please listen to what our son has to say.
We used artificial intelligence to bring him back to life. Here's his AI.
It's me. It's Guac. I've been gone for 2 years and nothing's changed, bro. People are still getting killed by guns. What is that? Everyone knows it, but they don't do anything. I'm tired of waiting for someone to fix it. The election in November is the first one I could have voted in, but I'll never get to choose the kind of world I wanted to live in. So you've got to replace my vote. Go to unfinishedvotes.com, register, then go vote. Vote for politicians who care more about people's lives than the gun lobby's money. Vote for people not getting shot, bro. I mean,
vote for people
me,
not getting shot.
Because I can't. We've got to keep on fighting, and we got to end this.
So this is an ad for unfinishedvotes.com. Oh man, it made me it just angers me to
it's
see
really
this.
bizarre. So they make the claim. Well, first of all, the tweet is described, let me pull it up. Sorry. The tweet says, did I lose it? There it is. His parents used AI to bring him back to tell people how voting can prevent these kinds of tragedies. Unless his parents are software designers and AI scientists, it wasn't his parents who used AI to bring him back. Okay. Yeah. It was this Change the Ref or whatever this refuse program is, somehow talked his parents into letting them make this really weird deep fake. It's a deep fake is what it is.
Yeah.
And with audio deep fake in there. You can tell it's a deep fake. I mean, they had an actor who, they filmed and then deep faked his face over the actor. And you can really tell it's got the same kind of uncanny valley thing while you're watching it. I mean, it's a good deep fake, but it's still identifiable. And, unfortunately, what it reminded me of was that Biden speech that looked like he was all deep faked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the facial movements aren't just quite right. But especially giving the deep fake such a specific way of speaking that I'm sure was based off of recordings of the kid. I mean, the message is really manipulative. It's vote guns away is what it is.
The part that really disgusts me is these parents using or allowing the likeness of their dead child to be used for political propaganda.
Yeah,
It's
and
like,
whether they
come
know it or
on, man.
not, too. I mean, maybe they are specifically trying to get political, and maybe they just were manipulated by this group. I don't know. I don't know much about the group. Maybe
I
they
don't either.
started the group. Who knows?
Well, who knows?
Unfinishedvotes.com.
Yeah, who knows? But either way, it doesn't matter if they want to or not. It's still kind of just man.
This is whack. Oh,
But,
wow. Have you gone to this unfinishedvotes.com?
No, I haven't.
It's all about this kid. Click on it. Go to it.
Maybe it is.
It's all the kid. It's page after page of deep fake photos of this kid. This is really strange.
You know what this reminds me of, and it almost seems innocent now. We reported, this must have been last year. We reported on a Chinese lady who had like VR goggles on or something, and she had like an encounter with her deceased child. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the VR. Yeah, it was a company that was making that available to parents.
Right.
Yeah, you get to meet your kid in like a VR Wonderland type thing.
Right. And remember at the end, the child says goodbye, turns into a butterfly or something, and it's like a spiritual goodbye or whatever. That almost seems more like not just innocent, but just palpable for something like this than to politicize the AI and the image of your dead child. I don't know, man. The whole thing's just so weird.
Just doesn't feel right.
No,
I mean, I'm trying to even like take it from their side. Like, yes, of course, you want to, your son to have an effect.
Voice, yeah.
You don't want him to go in vain, and you want to change the future. Not have the world stay the same or whatever. There's a lot of reasons why a parent would do this. But it doesn't make it any less, I don't know. I don't even want to call it creepy. Like, creepy is not even the right word. It just doesn't feel right. Let me see here. I'm just clicking around on this website. I have a bunch of all my tracking blockers are blocking like half of this website.
Yeah.
So it's very heavily tracked website. So I don't even know if I'm seeing all the right stuff. Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. I mean, obviously, my heart breaks for those parents, but just the obvious that either they're being used. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and say that the parents are being used by some uncaring, chilly-hearted political operatives.
Right. Yeah. Well, it does. I guess it's obviously, it's very sad if you lose a child to a gunshot. I mean, that's probably one of the worst things that can ever happen to anybody. But yeah, if it's not, I mean, my initial reaction towards the parents, but yeah, if they are being manipulated, or not just manipulated, even if they agreed to it, for someone to approach them with this tactic, I mean, the people exploiting the people that lost their children, they would be the sickos, really. I mean,
I think we're going to see this more and more.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think this is going to be normalized. I think we're going to start, and I think it's going to happen faster.
Yeah.
Thank God, the weird, again, all the school shootings that were happening a ton last year, not so much this year. That kind of kicked off the new version of the anti-gun debate or whatever. I think it's going to happen faster. I think it's going to happen more, and I think it's going to happen in bulk. Every time something happens, even the speed at which these deepfakes can be made now, it could be days after that they would be able to create this. And as they get better with the technology, the more they do it, the better they're going to get at normalizing parents doing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there is that sort of sociological factor of how do you convince the parents to allow this to happen. But I don't even know, in a sense, now I'm just kind of going off the rails. I don't even know what the legality would be if the child is deceased. Do the parents own the image of the child?
That's a really good question. Yeah, who has the rights to the image?
Yeah, because if I don't know what the laws are, if the law is not tuned correctly. And there's a chance that you could use anybody's image, if they're deceased and if their parents don't explicitly own their image. That could become a real big problem. I'm a little bit afraid of 2021. I could see this happening more and more.
Yeah, I mean, it just reminds me of a lot of the biblical passages about counterfeit signs and wonders. And it's moving in that direction where, because we kind of saw this coming for a few years where they have like a VR hologram of deceased musicians on stage, playing and stuff like that. So that idea of like resurrecting the dead with AI and stuff, it's been around, but there's just something that doesn't sit right with me to use. This isn't like a celebrity. It's just like a dead child to use for political purposes. That to me starts moving in the direction of, oh boy, this is really getting to an ugly place.
So what I can, real quick, just to follow up with the image thing, from what I can do on these very brief Google searches, the image is technically owned by next of kin, but through like Facebook EULAs and stuff, every picture you put on Facebook has the permission to use in an ad. So they own the image. So that could make it more complicated, where theoretically, if there was going to be a company evil enough to do this without the parents' permission, it would probably be Facebook.
Yeah, it'd be Facebook.
and they would own, at least they could put in the photos on their platform. They could load those into the AI to create the deep fake.
Yeah. Well, do you remember when Zuckerberg said this?
I am not capable of hatred.
Yeah.
So
it's my favorite quote.
He's not gonna do anything bad.
He's not gonna do something bad.
I'll just wrap.
We already know that.
I'll wrap up the show with this quick story here. It's kind of off the cuff here, but it's a story that, it's a common thing. The rabbis commonly say it, but I wanted to report it because I think in light of the whole Trump COVID thing, this just got to keep this in mind as well. This bigger spiritual play here. IsraelToday.co.il. Israel's top rabbi says we need Messiah to come. And all along, the rabbis have been shouting that the only way to really beat COVID-19 is divine intervention. On Saturday evening, Israel's most prominent Orthodox rabbi reiterated that message, urging his followers to pray for the coming of the Messiah. And, of course, these folks don't believe Jesus was the Messiah, so who is that Messiah going to be? I'll leave it at that.
Leaving it there, folks. Not touching it for the rest of this episode. But we want to thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We went a little bit late today, but that's okay. Now, here's the thing. Make sure you follow us on multiple platforms, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or Twitch or whatever. You're going to want to do that. Turn on notifications because we will be back on Monday the 5th. Yeah. Yep. Monday the 5th, sometime between noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please be there or be square. Now, also remember us and our value for volume model over at patreon.com/CCNT or canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support.
That's right. We'll need some producers for Monday's show. So remember, there's all sorts of fun ways to support the show. And you are a producer, not just a good Christian charitable person, but a producer of the show as well. Take responsibility for the future of your own media. And we're here to help. So remember to do that. We got the Tax Trump producership, some amount of $750. We've also got the 33 donation, all sorts of fun ways to make that a fun transaction. And we'll be reading that on the show. Remember to leave a rating and a review. Just search Canary Cry News Talk Apple Podcast in your search bar of choice, and leave a rating and a review there. We'll be reading more of those next Friday. It's always a fun time reading ratings and reviews, Gons. Let's see. Any special stuff? What's up with Hear the Watchman?
Hear the Watchman, it already happened, or at least the virtual one already happened. The in-person one in Orange County is a little bit later. I forgot to mention this. I was going to mention it earlier in the show, but I'll mention it now. Okay. Somebody emailed us, and they had written a whole bunch of stuff. So I just wanted to share it. I haven't gone through it myself, but just for the purposes of sharing it with people, expect-to-live-forever.com. That's expect-to-live-forever.com. They wrote me and said that they've written a whole bunch of stuff on NDEs and everything else. So check it out if you're curious. And also beholdyahweh.com. And they have some awesome illustrations. I got to say, Basil, these are like really cool illustrations.
Oh, I'll have to check it out.
And so, check out beholdyahweh.com, and you'll see some great artwork that they've done. I think they're doing a little bit more stuff there and putting things together. So just a couple different ministries out there doing work, and wanted to mention them because they want to contribute to the show. And it's just one of those things where, they got their thing going, so I don't want to take away from them, but we can pitch them and say, hey, these guys are doing work too. So,
cool.
Just something to throw out there for people who want to check out some other things that people are doing. But other than that, I think that's it.
All good. Okay. Well, remember, there's a lot of fun ways to support the show. I already mentioned ratings and reviews, but we'll need some art for Monday. So if you're an artist or a creative person out there, why don't you put together some sort of visual art for next week's show, next Monday's show. Of course, thanks to all of our artists for the art today. I was gonna try to name them all, but I don't think I could. Excellent pieces every single week. And you can create, if you know your way around some audio editing software, you can create jingles and or songs, music. We'll be playing the Canary Cry mixtape at the end of the broadcast here, so stick around for that. And jingles are always appreciated, even if you can foresee into the future a jingle we might want. What jingle did you mention today? You said it very quickly in passing. Was there one?
Was it the Razzle Dazzle?
No, there was one you said we needed. It was during Snail Mail.
Snail Mail, yeah.
Snail Mail jingle. There you go. There's if anybody's looking for direction, we do need a snail mail jingle. So thank you very much. All that stuff, art, music, jingles, you can send that to canarycryradio@gmail.com. That's a great way to get your stuff to us. And thank you again to all of our producers, all of our artists, all of our musicians. We could not do the show without you. As much as Gonz and I, play a role in this, I'm really just dazzled by how we've been able to integrate an entire family of thousands of Canarians into creating the show. It's really become a much bigger and cooler thing than I ever could have imagined we could do on our own, Guns. So thank you, everybody. That's right. I'm razzle-dazzled, baby. I do want to mention the Canary Cry community. We do have the Canary Cry community on Facebook if you're a Facebook person. But if you're not and you're trying to get away from the evils of Facebook, you can go to canarycry.community. That is a real URL that you can go to and join our off Facebook pseudo social media platform. It's all Canarians all the time. Lots of good, serious discussions about different theories and current events. There's lots of great fellowship, lots of sharing of testimonies and learning about each other's lives. Then there's silly things. There's meme threads that are just Primo. There's the Canary Cry Community Gamers Guild. I believe they just finished up their first game of Mafia. And I was reading through that thread, Gons. It is hilarious. It is amazing that they are able to do this, and it's so entertaining. So I don't know if you can get in on the new game yet or not, but just check out canarycry.community. It's a great place to train yourself to get away from Facebook, but also, join up with a community of people who, are not going to disown you because you have a different thought about something. It's a very eclectic group of people, and I appreciate it very much. canarycry.community. That's the URL. I know, it's crazy. Okay, I think that's it. Now, remember, one of the best ways to help the show out is simply to share the show with people in your life. That could be, posting an episode on social media or whatever, but also just sending it directly to somebody who you think would want it or need it. You got friends, you got family, they're waking up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. And, sending them an episode of Canary Cry News Talk might just be the thing that sets them on the narrow path of truth, and we'll be happy to help them on that journey as well. So if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to him, you grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just Ask Noah. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure, remember us for Monday, 12 o'clock. We'll be beginning sometime between noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Remember, if you feel those heartstrings being tugged, please become a producer. And more than anything, to connect with some more Canarians. It's a great way to make it through your week. All right, folks, we'll be back on Monday. Make sure to tune in next time to Canary Cry News Talk. But until then, think outside the cage.
That was nice.
Aliens.
Look it up.
Canary in the coal mine.
I'm for the robots.
Stop this progress before it is too late!
Phew, hallelujah. Call that.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
On my color TV, none of this news is what I want to see. In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on. You're fat and sassy in my people's zoo. I'll make you fat and sassy in my people's zoo. You, yeah, you, yeah, you, yeah, you in my people's zoo.